Hi and welcome or welcome back to BookTube with Amy. Today we're going to be doing another tag. So this is the Book Contradictions book tag, and I was tagged in this by Katie over at Introverted Reader. Katie's quite a new channel that I've been interacting with. Well, she is a person I've been interacting with, but I've just recently came across her channel. She reads quite a wide variety of books and she's really funny. She's Irish, so go check it out if you're not already subscribed. I don't remember who originated this tag, but I will leave all the information in the description down below so that you can also check out their videos. I feel like people may be expecting this, but the genre that I read predominantly is YA fantasy, and a YA fantasy that I just did not enjoy is Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. I did quite a review of this on my channel. I gave this book quite a roasting last year. I was so excited to read this because I read the entire Throne of Glass series and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is like one of my favourite series of all time that I have read, and it really helped reignite my love of books and reading, and it was really cool to geek out with people all over the internet about them. So I was so excited to read this, and I treated myself to it last year and absolutely hated it. The first like 3/4 of the book are really dull and nothing happens really plot wise. It's just like heavy world building and it's done really info dumpy, so it's no enjoyable, and I didn't like any character in this really, and I hated the amount of smuttiness that was in it, to be honest. It's not something that I particularly enjoy in my books, and I just felt like everything that anybody did in this book was like super sexy, and it was just dull to read about. My eyes were like rolling at my actual lead, so I really didn't enjoy this book. So I rarely read a thriller. I, as a reader, am quite impatient, and so if I'm reading a thriller, I just like want to know the details up front and centre. Like, I don't want to have to wait to the end of the book. I am not interested in your twists or your turns. Like, just tell me who's done it. So I tend not to like them, and it's a bit like that with some horror as well. Like, if I don't know who the killer is right at the beginning of the book, I'm like, this is going to irritate me. But one of the thrillers that I did like was You by Caroline Kepnes, and I liked this because we were with Joe the entire time, so we weren't waiting to find out who had done anything, and we were getting his internal monologue as we were going, all his thoughts and feelings. We were right there planning the dirty deeds with him, so the suspense of it didn't kill it for me, and I really enjoyed the different take of being in Joe's head. I feel like usually a book like this might have been written from Beck's perspective, so it was really interestingly done and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So one of my favourite tropes is friendship groups and like found family. It's just brilliant to see. I speak about it all the time, but it's rare that I ship romance in my books, so I'm all about the friendships. And one of the books I was really excited to get to was Six of Crows, because everybody raves about the friendships in it and how they are like a wee found family. So I was buzzing to read it. I thought it would be right up my street, and I absolutely hated it. It was a 1-star read for me. I really didn't enjoy it. I found it boring. I struggled to connect with the characters, and I just wasn't interested in the plot at all. So it was quite disappointing. And I do have Crooked Kingdoms, which is the second one. However, I really don't think that I'll read it because I hated the first one so much, and it's so surprising because like everybody else I know and everybody else who I watch on BookTube absolutely loves it, and it's just me sitting here myself like was bored the entire way through. So I I hate a love triangle. They infuriate me. I feel like we always know who is getting picked, and so there is no need for this other person to be there. Like, no need at all. It's frustrating, and I don't like conflict being there just for the sake of conflict. I think that if a story's done well and you believe that the person is plausibly in love with both parties in the triangle, that's different and could be done quite interestingly. I just find that it is rarely the case, especially in YA fantasy. Usually you can tell a mile off that they're going to pick the first person, so I just find it unnecessary and it's frustrating, and I already don't ship romances, so for you to try and get me to ship 2 romances and to care about the conflict, like it's never going to happen, except in the case of this book. And so that is The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. So far I am 3 books into this series and it is 8 parts. Now, while there are no romantic relationships yet between the 3 main characters in this book, you can see it's definitely coming. But I really enjoy it. Irene has such an interesting relationship with both Silver and Kai in this book, and she has reservations and pros and cons for them both, and I like that they both bring out a different side of her personality. And like I say, there hasn't been any romantic relationships thus far, but I could see it coming, and like, I kinda love it. So I'm thoroughly enjoying this series, and hopefully that's something that I continue to enjoy. I'm a really big Stephen King fan. I have been reading Stephen King books since I was a teenager. Me and Simon decided that we were going to tackle the Dark Tower series together, so we bought the first couple of books in the series to give it a go, and we DNF'd the first book. So this is The Gunslinger, which is the first book in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I just couldn't get into it at all. It didn't read like any other Stephen King book that I have picked up, and I just had absolutely no idea what was happening. Like, we'd sit down and we'd read some of it, and then we'd both be like, what? Like, what's going on? I just don't feel like it's done very well for the start of a series. Like, there is no build up, like you're just flung right in, which usually I would like, as long as you're getting information as we go, but you don't really get the information as we go in this one. Well, certainly as far as we had read, I just feel like you're flung in and you're expected to know what's happening. So I really didn't enjoy this, and we have not continued with the series. I don't think that we will. So I really didn't enjoy this. One of my friends really loves the series, and so I was talking to him to try and get us hyped for it, to be like tell me something that's going to make us pick it back up, or tell me something that's going to make us continue. And he says, aye, maybe the first 3 books are terrible, but by book 4 it's brilliant. I didn't want to read 3 terrible books to get to one potentially good book. I don't think we'll pick it back up. So I don't really have an answer for this one. I tend to find that if I don't like a book by a certain author, then I don't really pick up other books by them. I have given a few authors a chance. So I tried to give J. Kristoff a chance. I started to read Illuminae, really didn't like it, DNF'd it. Gave Nevernight a chance, really didn't like it, DNF'd it. I did the same with V.E. Schwab. I read Addie LaRue, really didn't like it. I gave her another chance with A Darker Shade of Magic. I thought totally different book, more up my street in terms of genre and what I like in books, and I really didn't like it. So I think that if I don't like a book, then it's probably because of the writing style and just something isn't clicking with me, because there'll be books that I will read and potentially I have issues with the plot points, I don't like the characters, and it's just not a great book, but I will be able to finish it. But I find that if there's something holding me back and I'm really disliking it and I'm not having a fun time while I'm reading it, or if I need to DNF it, then I'm probably not going to pick up any more books by that author. I know that that's bad, but I tend not to give them a second chance unless the book sounds like it is made for me. Then I would maybe pick it up, but there has nobody that I have disliked a book from and then I've picked up another one of their books and it's blown me away, so far anyway. Speaking of Addie LaRue, so I really loved the cover of Addie LaRue. I thought it was beautiful. It's really striking with the black and like the copper with the forget-me-nots. I thought it was lovely. I thought the book was beautiful, but what was inside just was not for me. The language was so flowery. It's just no my cup of tea. I am not here for it. I just want you to tell me what's happening, like without it needing to be poems. And I really didn't I really didn't connect with Addie. I didn't connect with really any of the other characters in the book. I just don't think that I went into this book fully knowing what it was. I think that if I mean, to be fair, everybody who had read it hyped it and loved it. So like I went into it based on the hype. It doesn't sound like a book I would pick up. I went into it based on the hype, and the hype just didn't live up for me. It was really disappointing, one of my most disappointing reads of last year. So I don't like the covers on the Game of Thrones books, even though I absolutely loved the books. I just think that the covers are a bit boring, and I hate when they do this bloody, this is now a major TV show, or this is now a major film, or this is new on Netflix. It annoys me. Like, make it a sticker so I can peel it off if I want. I hate that. But I just feel like these covers are really dull. And to be honest with you, if I saw these in a shop, I probably wouldn't pick them up. I don't think that it conveys just how brilliant and how exciting the series is. It's just a bit bleak looking. And I know that the series of books that we have, every book cover is like a different place in the Seven Kingdoms, which like is fine, but like a bit dull. Put a dragon on it for fuck's sake. So these have been all my book contradictions. Let me know in the comments down below what some of your answers would be. I'm going to tag Jem from Bookish Gems, and I'm also going to tag Ange from Angie's Book Chatter. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!